had a long conversation with my sister, which is kind of like a new focus for me. And that was great. And then the family got up, and I played with different camera setups and stuff like this for doing some more of the video stuff, which was fine. And then yesterday was buying new toys and setting up new things, and it's a little ridiculous. It was good all the way around.
Yes, but in all the best ways.
Yes.
Geeking out.
Yes, all the geeking out for sure. Like Melissa was like, I'm just gonna leave you alone in here. And I was like, that's probably for the best.
Otherwise, you might stop being attracted to me because I'm about to like fawn over this electronic stuff.
A little bit.
Another feeling.
Oh man, so what do you got on the agenda today, Bill?
Well, I have got a couple things. So I have a podcast interview with Sherry Garcia, who is Cornbread Hustle, and she's a stud. Yeah. She has an awesome business model. And so I get to interview her on the podcast today. And
cool.
Let's see, I've got a decent bit of writing. I'm going to be shooting some video at the end of the week. So I'm writing some scripts for some video. And we have on LinkedIn coming up, we're actually going to relaunch again this year, 10 tips, 10 days on 10/10. So August or October 10th.
Nice.
So I'm going to be doing some planning on my 10 tips for that. And that's the goal. That's the focus today.
Okay. Cool.
And then of course I've got the one, my cover book chapter with my son today. So I'm gonna make sure we throw those in there too. So that's the personal one. What about
Absolutely. You? I've got my kind of deep work block after this, which would be great. I've got a group, kind of catch up with the guys on the real estate thing. I've got 2 coaching calls with 2 different clients today. I have a networking call. This guy named Bruce Rabin. He writes he does a lot of biz devy stuff, but he also writes the chamber newsletter that gets opened by 6,000 people a week. And he's been doing that for a while. So we're going to catch up. He's a super cool guy. I have a support call for a client who's stuck on a little bitty project. And need to make sure my ducks are in a row for our planning session tomorrow. And so, I'm going to put a little bit more time into that. And it's not overly crazy. And I will be done at 4:30 because I'm continuing that this week. Which
awesome. That sounds like a lovely Monday.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I might, we'll talk about that off air. I'm not ready to talk about that on here yet. So,
okay.
I might have to adjust how I work with some of my clients because of some big projects that are coming up. So I might need some of my bandwidth back, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's good. Well, so let's talk in generics then, because bandwidth I think is a really good discussion point, right? Just
okay. So I have a
big project coming on.
Yeah, I have a couple of clients who I've worked with for a while, and they're solid guys. But I kind of feel like one of them has put in the work, right? And so I don't really know that he says he's still getting value from us chatting weekly, but I think that we could scale that back a little bit. And then the other guy is newer in the process. There's still more to work on, but my concern is if these projects really spool up as quickly as we're talking about them spooling up, my time has to go towards the bigger stuff, right? So need to kind of show up and reset expectations and, maybe talk about, hey, maybe not every week, maybe every other week, or maybe you come find me when you're like really stuck on something and maybe like ad hocing a little bit because, I've got 4 clients like that, so that's 10% of my week that I might need in other capacities.
So how do you make decisions? Is part of it the unknown that's causing friction in your own head? Because
for sure, right? Well, there's that. There is the cynic in me that's like, wait a minute, right?
I can hear it. Yeah.
There's stuff back here. This might not go the way that you want to. And, once you have been in business for a while, and you kind of do some things, you start to realize like lots of things don't go according to plan. So how how do you protect yourself, right? So one of my partners on this call yesterday, or in the business flippers, was asking me what it would cost for me to have more time available, because last week he was a little frustrated because it was hard to get a hold of me because I had a lot of calls last week. And I was like, well, man, my biggest concern is that I stopped prospecting, I stopped networking, I stopped doing all these things, and then this doesn't go the way that I want it to, or I need it to, and then I'm stuck with no pipeline and no revenue, and holding the bag. And his response to that was, okay, how much do you need to not do that anymore? And so we're kind of working through what that looks like.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But
So,
there's
is that a 40-hour
there.
thing though? Is that like, are you clear enough on that to say this partner needs 40 hours of my time, or is that part of the problem? You're not.
He doesn't need 40 hours of my time, right? This week is all about shoring up the parts of this that are my struggles, right? Recruiting, HR, those two things are very, very hard for me to do. So that way we can start building a bench, right? And having a bench, because these projects will be kind of fast and kind of furious. And so I kind of need like a group of people who are ready to go, as well as time to build out the strategies and time to do the other stuff that I do. So that part of it is a little murky, and that makes me uncomfortable.
So it sounds like headspace, not necessarily hours per se. I mean, obviously there's some demands that will come up quickly, but like also just having the mental, like the headspace to quickly act. And if you have these other things around, it might feel distracting and you can't get there.
Well, the goal, so my weekly goal is to have 5 decision maker conversations with different decision makers, right, about what I do, to see if there's something for us to do, right? And that's there as much because like I know that if I'm doing 5 per week, then on average I'm going to end up with the amount of business I want in a month. But it's also just a way to make sure that my foot stays on the gas, right? Because I'm not wired to go seek out people and go get in front of them. I'm more wired to do like systems and thinking and things like this. So I've run that program for so long, the idea of not running it makes me a little bit nervous, right?
Gotcha.
So there's the allocation of time to do the social media stuff and the DMs and everything else like this to get the 5 conversations, as well as the time to get the 5 conversations done each week, right? Because a lot of times it's not 5, it's 6 or 7. So that could be like 10 hours, right? So the idea of just chopping that out of my week makes me a little bit uncomfortable without really
Yeah, me
firm,
too.
clear steps,
My immediate reaction is, how can you get to those talks quicker, or how can you not chop them off but go down to 3 and find ways to reduce time? And because I agree with you. I don't think you should ever, unless you actually have a really strong position or like a W-2 job, right? You shouldn't stop prospecting, because then you're not a business anymore. You're basically like you're working for someone.
Yeah.
Which is, there's nothing wrong with that. That's completely awesome. That's amazing, especially if you like the work and you have things going on. And just like in general, right? Not like this situation. Like, so if you're still a business owner and you have a really big client, which I've been there before, it's like, how do I spend this 5 hours the most effectively to get to decision makers?
Absolutely.
Versus I can't talk to decision makers.
Well, so I've kind of gotten the network to a point to where I have, a smidge of authority, I guess. And so when I put out and ask, people are like, okay, cool. I'd be, happy to learn about this. So my goal is to scale my social back, so that way it's just like on this kind of like even burn, right? So posting regularly, but not turning it all the way up to like 11, which is what I have been doing.
Right.
And like still networking and stuff, but taking some of this pressure off of like, I need five. The other thing we're doing is this closer that we're looking for this new client, and the process that we're building out for that will be the last one, because it's too high touch. It's really hard to let somebody else do it.
That's the one you said you were going to kind of let go.
Yeah. And so we're going to finish this one up for James. And then after that, unless I can figure out a way to really, really, really template it and streamline it and stuff, or maybe it just becomes a course or something else along those lines. But it's kind of, it's too high touch for me to do at the price points that I've been doing it compared to what I'm looking at in these other projects.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's good, because you're kind of spooling down something, kind of what we talked about. That's just too much for the time you're spending. So Levi,
I love doing it, but
Levi sounds this talk sounds ominous. I'm not sure why it sounds ominous, Levi. What do you mean?
No, it's not ominous, man. It's just a like a like someone put the biggest playground in front of me, and I get to like go play on everything, and so that means
you've only got this
yeah,
much time.
I've only got
this
that much
many
time.
toys.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's about refocusing the vision, I guess, right? So Jake and mine's 12-week planning session tomorrow is going to be
Could not have been better timing, right?
could not be better timing for sure. But no, it's nothing ominous at all. You know, the people I'm supporting now, I plan to continue to support. You know, some of the people that have been with me longer might change or evolve, but you know, having more time for I need to start building teams as opposed to building like the individuals, right? So very first layer around me is people that are going to be like really high empaths, but can also really get into sales and like the data portion of it. And then I need like a writing person.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Let me go find all those. And
no
then
problem.
I need a right hand person who's just straight task, right? Like the harsh task, like protect my time, make sure I don't get in my own way, all these things, stuff like that. So
yeah, like someone to like slap you every time that you try and do it yourself.
Pretty much. What are you doing? Yeah, absolutely. So, right. Something along those lines.
Manesh, is that girl available? Can we get her Craigslist listing, please?
Sorry, I'm not even gonna go down that road.
Michelle, good morning. Gabriel, good morning, man.
Good morning, Michelle and Gabe, and Mike, and Levi. This is awesome.
All the peeps. Yep.
Man, so a little inside baseball. I got a new monitor yesterday, and my old monitor that I've been using as my external monitor, I've had easily 10 years. Right. So I don't know if people know this or not, but 10 years is a pretty big leap forward as far as monitor technology. And man, this new one looks so good. Like, I don't even want to look at myself on it. Like the other one, I was like, oh yeah, this is pretty great because it's just like 1 pixel.
Yeah. Pros and cons. You're like, oh gosh, look at that. What is that right there? Yeah. Hey, but everything else, especially for games.
Yeah, especially for games.
Yes,
it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, that's good. Well, this is my jam. I love this stuff. I love priorities and effectiveness and rearranging things to make things more effective. And so I love hearing.
Here's the lesson learned, right? Because hopefully this is a good thing, right? I'm a little bit kind of like stressed, but it's like self-induced stressed, but it's like this is the progression of things, right? You should be getting into things that you have to figure out. And I think maybe a year ago I would have been like, hey, this is like too much, I'm not really sure that I can do this and everything else, and maybe it shied away from it. But all of this stuff and the change, and then everything else is like, okay, cool, I can figure this out, so let's go.
Yeah, I think a good preview into the 12-week tomorrow, because that's what John and I are doing at midday tomorrow, is that 12-week is what I ask myself, and what I'll be asking John is, what are you trying to build, like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years from now? What are the highest priority activities you can work on between here and there? And then, okay, now it's back into what that looks like for the next 90 days till the end of the year. Mm-hmm. Where are the handoffs between first quarter, Q4 and Q1? What would those look like? So we can kind of plan for those. But because at the end of the day, if you're building towards something, you make decisions differently versus if you're like, hey, this is a good opportunity and it's really awesome and I want to do this. Okay, that's good too. And some people actually run their business that way and are just fine and love doing that. So it's a pick. How do you want to run your business?
Yeah.
Because when you just run towards cool projects, you kind of get beat around in the wind a little bit, but you find some exciting things and you get to work with some cool people and you get to do cool projects and put your name on cool things and make a bunch of money sometimes. And some people run their business that way completely fine. That's cool. I think it's a personality thing. It's harder to do for like a C, for example. For a D can do that all day long because they don't care. It's like, oh, I don't care what you think. I'm gonna do this. And then on the other side of it, there's kind of an extreme of I'm only doing this thing and we're going to plan and it's going to look like this. And when things happen, we're going to pivot but we're going to know what our pivot options are when we get there and and then there's real life, which is the in-between we live in.
Yeah.
And that's why we got a plan.
Yeah. Plans are built in the vacuum and then tried and then are, not flawlessly executed in the
Is
real
it
world.
Vince Lombardi that said, make a plan, then throw away the plan?
I don't know if that's Vince Lombardi or not. I like the Mike Tyson one better, of that everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Right. Well, Lombardi was asking, I think they were asking Vince Lombardi if he plans for games. He was like, well, sure, I plan for games. He goes, but you make a plan and then you throw away the plan because it never happens the way you think it's going to happen. But the plan's valuable because when you get there, you see some of the things you expected, but don't rely on the fact that your plan's going to work.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, you okay over there?
Yeah, I just swallowed sideways. That's all.
Yeah, you were planning on swallowing regularly, and then it didn't work out that way.
I made a plan to drink some coffee, and then the coffee bit back. So.
Man, okay.
Anyway, cool. Well,
awesome.
Glad Jake got his kicks cleaned. Oh yeah. Thanks, Gabriel. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, over the weekend, if you saw my Facebook post, I was working. So I bought like a whole set of Jordans on eBay, and about half of them were they need to be restored, right? That's why I got one of the reasons I got such a good deal. Another reason is because I got like a sales coach. He taught me how to negotiate well. I came in hard with some tactics, and the dude just folded like a wet bag. But I had one pair that looked like it had motor oil just splattered all over the front of it, and it was not coming off. And dude, I tried everything, and finally I just pulled up I had tried vinegar, all these different things, and finally I just went to my laundry room and I have OxyClean stain remover, and I was like, let's try it. Lo and behold,
wow,
everything else doesn't work and this stuff works.
So what's that guy's name? Billy.
Billy.
Bam. Yeah, bam. Look at this.
Yeah. So apparently I'm, going to be a sponsor for OxyClean moving forward for the show.
So hold on. So for those who don't know, Jake had 0 pairs of Jordans. He gets 1 pair of Jordans, and now he's got 10.
Enough. No comment.
Deep end. Whee!
Man. I found a really good deal. I couldn't pass up one.
It was a good deal for sure. Yeah. My Gatorades are going to be a little bit less than what Jake spent for his whole home. So yeah, hence the wait.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Gabriel. Appreciate it, man. He chipped in too. It was like, try baby wipes or try. It's it's interesting to hear what people do in their own households. Yeah. It's like you did what? Okay. I mean, I guess I'll try it if it doesn't work, but
it's crazy. But they're all good. They're all wearable.
Yeah, I got 3 of them fully restored. They look fantastic. And then 2 of them I'm still kind of messing with, but they're better. They're totally wearable now, and they just look like, slightly used, kind of worn in Jordans. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
good for you.
I spent all weekend on it though. I mean, it was like you and I talk about if you're not going to work, you got to find something else to pass the time with.
Mm-hmm.
Picture me with a toothbrush and a tiny paintbrush all weekend, cleaning and painting and.
So I got this roof rack for the 4Runner last week, and I was going to put it on Saturday, and I'd never done this before, and so I take off the old rails and I'm trying to put the new one on, and it's a little bit off, and so I call my buddy, and he was like, yeah, just give me a couple of weeks and I'll be down, and then we'll figure it out together, and he's got lots of experience doing this kind of thing. I was like, okay, that's fine. And now I'm driving around without the rails on the back of my 4Runner, which bothers me because I know that there's supposed to be something there. I like the look of it, but I know in my head that something is supposed to be there and it's not, and I can't do it. So I'm currently under the weight of that. And so Saturday was 4 hours of trying to do this thing while the girls are decorating for Halloween and stuff like that. So that was the rest of my Saturday.
Gotcha. Yeah, good. I love projects. I think I've become a restoration nut in general. the Jordans were just kind of a version
Gateway
of
drug.
like coming out party, maybe, because it's definitely not just a little thing. It was kind of a party. But yeah, I find myself watching more restoration shows, and I rehabbed houses, in my 20s. Like I was a real estate investor, and I rehabbed houses. So I think there's probably a little, or not so little, bug in me to restore things that I'm discovering.
Man, Michael Ryan gave me this very old Canon to try this trick to for using DSLR for video. And with Canons, apparently you can just plug them straight into your machine, which is like a huge notch in the cap of Canon, honestly.
Yeah.
And so this is a 13-year-old DSLR that he was letting me play with. Works like a champ. It looks amazing. So when we're going to be doing whiteboard videos right over here off camera, and so getting this camera for that doesn't really work. But I'll be able to go, hey, let's go to the whiteboard. It'll switch the cameras. It'll show this whole thing. It's going to be pretty smooth. I'm pretty excited.
Which one's Levi? Levi said the decorations are sharp. So
man, we go hard on Halloween. Like Melissa,
got you at your house.
Alice, okay. Yeah, Melissa and Alice are like, let's go back and look for more. Let's go back and look. Like this is going to be a daily fight for the next, until Halloween.
Yes, you need like a Halloween fund. So everyone just give to John so that he can afford Halloween this year.
Yeah, like when you come here tomorrow, you'll see. And the inside is 10 times more than what's on the outside. It's pretty crazy.
Okay.
So
sweet. Oh, I can't wait. Yeah. A bonus.
Absolutely.
All right, Bill. Well,
let's get to work, man. I have a lot to do. The boss is already on me.
Yep. I guess a jerk.
He's such a jerk. Get back to work.
Stop having fun. That's right. 6 minutes are up for the day. All right, man. Well, we'll see everybody tomorrow.
Absolutely. Thanks, Bill. Right. Thanks, Michelle. Everybody else.
Bye.
Sorry, I'm blanking on names.